Right, mate. Calmada.
How you doing, mate?
Got there in the end, mate. It took me fucking 45 minutes. I know we done a podcast last year, mate, and you didn't want it to go out, obviously, because you were going through your own issues and things like that. But how's life been since?
Up and down, really. I mean, just after that podcast, obviously my little girl got a bit worse. Her epilepsy took a bit of a turn again. And then shortly after that, my dad had a quadruple heart bypass operation. Yeah, he was, by all accounts, a few hours from dying. So he was quite lucky to still be here. So, yeah.
Fucking hell. How long after the podcast was that?
I think it was more like 2 months, 3 months. But in the meantime, TALIA wasn't the best, so
yeah,
it was like we weren't catching a break at all.
How's that been with your daughter since? How have you been?
To be honest with you, like TALIA's deals with it a lot better than what we deal with it. Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, isn't it? Because that's sort of the norm for her. That's what she knows.
Yeah, I don't think she really truly understands it still. I think she's still a bit like, because it happens so often every day, I don't think she actually like truly knows like what it is still. But one thing what we have picked up on now is her twin brother Vinny. She had a seizure in front of him about 4 months ago, and he had like a full-on breakdown. So
it's affecting him now. Well, yeah, obviously,
it was ridiculous. It was like she was having this big fit, and he was with her, and he started screaming. He was putting his head on the wall. He didn't know what was going on. He was panicking. I think it was his first one where it's happened in front of him, and we haven't managed to get him away from it. It sort of happened. He's seen his sister go into a big fit, and obviously he was 2.5 at the time, so we didn't really know what was going on.
Can you explain what it is that she's got and sort of the what triggers it, what causes it? You know, can it be something like nutrition, lights? I don't know, the way she's feeling, anxiety, all that type of thing. You know, if you go into a bit of detail for people.
Yeah, so she's got a thing called eyelid myoclonia, I think it's pronounced.
Okay.
Which she has multiple seizures every day, up to 80 to 100 every day. But they're not fits like where she's on the floor fitting. Her eyelids flicker a lot. She loses like, she'll lose her concentration. She'll lose like her balance. She's not there for maybe 7, 8, 9 seconds. And then she'll come back round. But in that time, she can hit her head on the table. She can hit her head on the floor. And then on top of that, she's got, I think it's like epilepsy, which affects all the brain.
Really?
So like, I think it's called generalized epilepsy. So there's no like pinpoint to where it's starting. It can start in different areas of the brain. Any seizure, you know. So she has like, I can't pronounce the words of them, but she has like the full-on fits. They're not as bad lately. She's on a new medication. But the eyelid myoclonic seizures, they're not...
Does one trigger the other?
It can do. I find when she gets overexcited, so if she's playing, temperature shoot up, and then that'll start the process of nearly having a fit. If we don't catch it right, she'll then have a fit. If you're doing something and she's doing something and she doesn't want to do it, and you're trying like we're going out now, Tal, she'll get stressed. That can trigger it. There's still
epilepsy. If I'm right in saying this, it's the electrical waves in your brain, isn't it? Or the lack of or excess of. Is that right?
Yeah, basically. So the way the doctor explained it to us is like a circuit board as an electrician.
Right.
And every so often, when you like electric trips,
right,
it's the same in your brain.
Okay.
And then it'll come back in.
So it doesn't get that electric. There's no electricity in the brain, then I take it, and that's what causes the epileptic seizure. I
think there's just like something misfires, and as they explained it, that makes sense.
And she's had that since birth?
No, it started, I think she was around 5 months old. I was on a night shift. And Gemma rang me up, she screaming. I answered and I said, "What's the matter?" She was like, "Talia's dying, she's dead.
Oh, fuck.
I said, "What do you mean she's dead?" It was like 12:30 at night. And basically what we now know is an absent seizure. At the time was, we thought she stopped breathing, because when she has these seizures, her oxygen levels drop severely low, so she goes blue in her lips. And with an absent seizure, there's no movement, so her eyes roll. Is
she breathing in an absent seizure?
Doesn't sound like it, because the neck is like a muscle, they said. So it as you're contracting, so is the neck. So it sounds like you're not getting the air.
Oh man, that must be fucking terrifying every time it happens.
Well, it's all different kinds of seizures, to be honest with you. Like she'll have an absent seizure, she'll have the eyelid myoclonic seizures, she'll have the full-on fitting seizures.
And is it right to say that when they have them types of seizures, you're not allowed to like, especially in the more erratic seizures, you've just got to leave them. You can't pin them. You can't hold them or nothing. Is that right or wrong?
With Tal, obviously my little girl, you know. So we put her comfortably on the sofa. We can pick her up because she's still small, and we put her on the sofa and we just stroke her head, you know, talk to her, let her know we're still here. There's times where like,
you're all right, lad.
Yeah.
Tea time. Tea time.
There's times where like, you know, when she's in it, but she's not like fully in it. So she's
sort of present.
She's looking at you. And like, there's been times where she's been in a seizure, she's following you around the room with her eyes and you can't do nothing to help her. Then you know yourself, Lee, as a parent, you want to do everything you can to protect your child.
Of course, yeah.
And when you can't, you know, you feel like you're letting your child down.
I suppose, like what you said that you were doing was, you know, making her feel comfortable and putting her on the sofa just to make, you know, it's that reassurance that, look, you're safe, we're with you type thing. And I suppose, as cheap as that sounds, all you can do is give her that reassurance, can't you?
Yeah.
And I get it, man. I've just put myself in that position and I felt what you would, you know, that emotion then. I wouldn't know how to deal. Like, my daughter done that, mate. As you know, mate, daughters, that are your fucking little princesses, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, man. It really is. So is there anything, you know, what type of help is she getting? What is there, you know, a possibility that this is something that she can outgrow with treatment and things like that, or?
Well, they've just put her on a medication called sodium valproate, which we really held back with because it can potentially make her infertile as she grows up and it'll give her gallbladder problems. So we've gone through all different kinds of medications like clobazam and Keppra and all these different things, and one would work and one wouldn't. I mean, so they were trying to like mix the medicines up together. So at the minute, she has every day she'll wake up, she'll have 4 different kinds of medicine in a little tube, and then in the evening she'll also have like a sleeping tablet. Melatonin, I think it's called.
Melatonin, yeah. Melatonin, yeah.
So, because her brain's so active, she struggles to sleep. But
and is that active purely because of the epileptic?
We think
sort of. I don't know how to describe it. Sort of brain electricity, if you like.
I think it's the activity.
Is it different? So, does her brain? Is it on like a different electrical state all the time, and then something?
Well, we're currently going through tests for Tal with that she might have autism triggered from the epilepsy. They go hand in hand, apparently.
Do they?
So what we've gathered, like her twin brothers talking, flying, and she's very clever. Don't get me wrong. She knows what we're saying. She knows what we're asking her for, but she can't really talk.
Yeah.
So she's starting to say the odd word now, but she got no sense of like fear. So if her brother's like on the sofa jumping around, like he'll know he's got to jump off, where Tal will just like walk off and not realise there's a drop, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but we can't really get it diagnosed until she's a little bit older. I think it's like 5. But we're currently under a team at the minute who we're trying to push because she started going to school within like a play group, 9 to 11. And them teachers there, man, they're fantastic. Like, like Brincock School in Mould. We had meetings before going in with them, and the lady who runs it, she got all the staff epileptic trained before the school term started, and they have active meetings with Talia's epileptic nurse.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like every 2 or 3 months, and yeah, so they're really good, to be fair.
So you've got Talia, Vinny,
and Harper, my eldest. Yeah.
How old's Harper?
She's 8 now.
How's she take it?
Obviously,
she's a little bit older. She'll understand a little bit more what's going on.
She's used to it now, but when she was about 6, I think it was, she was waking up in the middle of the night and going to check on her sister, because when she would wake up, sometimes in the night, his sister had a fit who were in hospital, which then it triggered a thing called guttate psoriasis. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Is that like from stress or something?
From stress. It started off with a spot here. She had it for a few weeks. Sorry. She had it for a few weeks, and then this guttate psoriasis, if anyone's ever seen it before, I imagine they have, it just bloomed all over her body, like overnight. It was like a scalp, her ears, a belly button. It was, and she's still having treatment now. So she's. We were going at one point to Wrexham Mile at 7 a.m. 3 times a week, so Harper could have a free 30-second sunbed to try and get this psoriasis down. And then she's had needles, she's had creams, and now she's currently on some tablet which suppresses her immune system because now her body's attacking itself, caused from the stress which happened all them years ago. So
sad, isn't it? Because she's the big sister.
She's fantastic.
Is she?
Oh, she's
What about the lad? How's he with it? How old are they again? Sorry, the twins.
The twins are 3 now.
3. Okay. Yeah.
But the lad, to be fair, he's a proper boyo. You know, he's
with a name like Vinny, he's gonna be, isn't he?
Oh, he's really protective. I was speaking to one of the teachers the other day, and he said like when Talia has a bit of an episode in school, he's straight over there. No matter what he's doing, he drops his toys and he's stood with her. I mean, one of them didn't zip her jacket up properly.
They had to go with him.
Yeah, he said like he shouted at him to zip it up. So they said that he's really protective. But then I think like should really, if I know he's a brother, but should a 3-year-old really be thinking that way? He should be thinking about playing. And
it's that protective instinct, though, isn't it, of being a brother? You know, I think that especially with brothers and sisters, as you'll know, as we grow up, we all fight with each other.
Yeah.
But anybody else fights with them, and you're going to be there to protect them.
100%.
And you know, you can sort of look at that from 2 ways. Do you feel as though he's being deprived of some form of happiness in his childhood and things like that? Like you were saying there, you should be playing with his toys. Okay. But at the same time, he's learning brilliant skills that, you know, I've got to protect me. My sister's not well. I've got to look after her. I've got to make sure that, you know, if anybody's around her, they're doing the right thing. So one thing I've learned, mate, over the last 6 months or so, negativity doesn't get us anywhere in the end. So if we can sort of look at it from a positive angle, because well, you know, us as humans, mate, we beat ourselves up over everything, don't we?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Was it something I've done? Is this, you know, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And the fact of the matter is, we're all experiencing life, and unfortunately, some of us get dealt a fucking rough hand at times.
Yeah.
So if we can, you know, sit there and look at the positive aspects of it, she's alive. She's being treated with, hopefully, the best treatment she's got.
Yeah.
Got a loving mum and dad. Got a loving brother.
Yeah.
Older sister loves her like mad.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a good environment for her to be in. You know, so again, I'm no therapist, but just always try and look at it, little snippets of positivity and things like that, and that might help you. You know what I mean?
It's with me. Like I get out all the time. I'm, you know, like this is you see in the boxing gym now I run, and you know I get that little bit of time. But when you wake up in the morning, you know, when you feel like 5 seconds of your day, you feel normal again, and then after 5 seconds,
reality
kicks
in.
Feeling of like I don't even know the word. It's like a kick to the stomach because you think like, is today going to be the day she has another fit again? Is you know, is she? It's just it's hard.
Yeah, I get that, mate. I don't get it because I'm not going through it. So, but yeah, I understand what it's like to wake up in the moment and think, oh, you know, what am I? And then boom, reality kicks in. You're like, fuck, you know.
And be like, I feel a bit of a hypocrite saying it because it's not me going through it.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're going through it with her. You're a parent at the end of the day. You go through things like that as a family, don't you?
Like I say, it's without this thing here, boxing, I don't know what. I went back fighting not last year, just the year before when we did the podcast. And if it wasn't for that at the time, I don't know. I needed to do that for myself because I put the weight back on now. But even with that, like when you're so down without realising, but you can't show it because there's other things going on in your life or your house. The last thing you want to do is then go out for a run in the cold. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I was looking. I just want to sit down and probably feel sorry for myself, really, I suppose, but in a way.
I've got a question for you, mate. Do you believe that any sort of physical exercise is a form of therapy, or is it something that, I'll say, sugarcoats over the shit? Because this is something that I've been listening to lately, people debating. Some people are saying, well, it is a form of therapy, and some other people are saying, well, it's a coping mechanism rather than therapy.
Yeah.
I sort of agree with both.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know what you think of that.
I think the same, because when I lost all my weight, I come back boxing last year or year before, I didn't really truly believe I was going to get back down to weight and compete again, and I did. But when it was all said and done again, and I'd gone off a boil with problems in my life, them problems were still there.
Yeah.
The same problems I had after I felt good for exercising. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
So even going to the gym, it's good for 1 hour, but then I suppose...
Once you walk out of there, it's, again, like that kick in the stomach and you're back to reality, aren't you?
Yeah. But then I suppose at least you're getting an hour away from it.
Yeah.
If you are exercising. You know, I think sometimes if you sat down in a house to yourself, you're stewing on things or you're thinking about things and overthinking. A lot of the stuff isn't even the right way when you're thinking of it. Like, you're overthinking stuff.
Yeah.
At least you're not doing that if you're out the house doing something. That makes sense.
What's boxing done for you, mate? What does boxing do for you? Obviously, we know that the physical aspects of boxing and what it can do for somebody, but obviously you've got a lot of young kids coming here. What do you think that it's... Take you back to, say you were 15, 16. I'd imagine you were boxing then.
Yeah.
You know, what sort of positive traits and tendencies that does it instill in a young man that he could use growing up?
I was petrified of my coaches and they were my heroes. Like, so, like, I'd like be hitting my punch bag and I'd look over someone and see if they were looking at me. You know, because I wanted them to be
attention,
that attention. You know, that or like I've seen like I had an old coach called Pedro, and he was only small, a legend of a boxing game. He was this big. He's made champion after champion, and one grown up adult, our kids himself, was fighting in town, and he found out about it, and we used to train in a big circle, and Pedro came in and he was doing a warm up, and he went, "Oh, you here?" And this lad had boxed in the championships and done all sorts. And he said, "What?" He said, "What were you doing on the weekend?" He said, "Nothing." Why? He said, "Don't lie to me." And he was shouting at him, like, you know, going at him. And he said, "I want the truth. What were you doing weekend?" And he said, "I had a fight in town." And Pedro had his hand, and he slapped him straight across the hand in front of everyone. And this is a fully grown man, like 30-year-old. And this lad looked like he was going to like burst out crying. I thought like it's the discipline what this country's lacking right now.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I don't think there's anything like boxing for discipline because you can't cheat it. Like, you know, you can't cheat boxing. Like, they know if, like, my coach, again, Pedro, used to come put his hand on your heart. If you did, like, a round sparring and you were blowing a bit, he'd say, "Come here." And he'd feel your heartbeat and say, "You need to get on the road a bit more. You're not running." You say, "I am." We said, "Well, you're obviously not, are you?" Because, like, you know, and then a few weeks go by, you'd listen to him and he wouldn't need to do it because he knew being in a game that long, he knew the inside and out. You couldn't cheat him, do you know what I mean? And then I've seen lads, including myself, cut weight last minute and just be a shadow of themselves, if that makes sense, in the boxing ring. So you can't cheat the lifestyle. Yeah, you know. It's,
if you could take some of the learnings out of boxing and use them in everyday life, what do you believe some of them characteristics would be? I'm just going to move my chair back, mate. You carry on.
No problem. I'd be a bit more confident sooner in life than what I was. I wouldn't have got bullied so much as a kid. Well, growing up, you know, it gave me confidence. It gave me a bit of self-belief in myself, which I never had. And it got me friends as well. So it helped me socially as well as physically and mentally. That makes sense?
I think some form of physical combat training should be generalised across the society of children. Like, you know, there's a lot of, what's it called? when you have to go in the army, something service.
National service.
National service. There's a lot of countries that, even to this day, you've got to do 3 years, I think, of national service. And I think it'd be a brilliant idea for children to have to, learn some form of combat, whatever that may be.
100%.
Maybe they get the decision, but I think there's a lot of characteristics of combat sports that instills things, integrity, honesty, belief, respect. All these types of things, and I think that's what a lot of society's missing in this day and age now. Is a good, especially the younger generation, mate. Is a good fucking hiding.
Yeah, well, it's 100%.
Yeah,
because you realise when you get punched in the mouth. Yeah. I remember the first time it happened to me years ago. Like, I thought I was a bit of a jackal lad, and I went sparring, and this lad looked like nothing. He hit me with a right hand, and I thought, wow, like, what was that? And you think, I've got another minute and a half left in the round here. You're just starting off boxing, but then also it makes you realise you're not made of glass either.
Yeah,
but you do understand that there's
levels.
There's levels to things, and you can't speak and treat people the way you want to because you think it's the right way.
I always remember, mate. I was doing. I worked in Scottish Power. I was only 16, and there was a fella who worked there. Pete, I think his name was. He was fucking massive. I was tall, but I was like a rake, and I would say I was 16. I was a kid, and I was being dead gobby to all the fellas who worked there. And mate, he just come over, slammed me on the floor, and booted me in the ribs. I was like, fucking hell. And I thought, I won't fucking speak like that again. And that's all. That was it. I just never spoke like that again.
Teach you a lesson?
Fucking right it did, mate. And it hurt. I'm sure he broke a few ribs as well. But that's, us growing up, especially, round in Flint, it's probably be the same for you, up Mould. Your chops off in the pub when you're young and you get a slap from one of the older fellas.
100%.
Simple as that, like. You've got all these young'uns now running around, smacking people, pulling knives out, doing all sorts of mad stuff, to vandalising people's houses. That's all you see now on social media. My house has been robbed, or somebody smashed my windows, or somebody's pulled a knife out on my mum. Like the world's going mad. It's going mad, like.
Well, this is part of the reason as well. Is like, obviously there's boxing gyms all over every town.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fathom the idea why there isn't one in Flint.
Yeah.
Like, not saying it's like a rougher town than anywhere else. It's the same as everywhere else.
Yeah.
But there should have been a boxing gym here.
I agree.
Moving forward, I like doing things which takes them out of their comfort zone. So in the next few months, like the nights, we're going to be doing things in the community. We're going to have all the lads with high visors on, picking litter up around the town as a boxing gym. We're going to have them volunteering, packing people's bags.
That's cool.
At the end of, in shops, because it's showing the community. Yeah, boxing's a bit of a violent sport, but it's not violent. It's beautiful, and there's a lot of respect in there. Now, if I can get into these young lads from a young age, 13, 14 and 15, and get them respecting their town first and foremost, and the people who live in it, and their coaches and their mums and dads and everybody else, and then they will then, in the next generation, hopefully pass it on to their kids, and then it'll just be an ongoing cycle of self-respect and
the thing is, it's teaching you that empathetic view as well of doing things for others without having to. It's that reward versus recognition thing, that you're doing something with no possibility of a reward rather than to help someone.
Yeah. And
I think, again, that's missing in this day and age. Is a lot of the time now people do something because it's that association with reward. I was reading a study the other night where a scientist in America, just the sound of him dangling his keys made the dogs, because he was doing tests with dogs, start drooling. Because they associated the dangling of the keys with feeding food.
Wow.
So they knew, as soon as he dangled his keys, they started, we're going to get fed. And a lot of it now, you look on social media, mate, and the amount of people, some of the fucking videos that you see, it's just pure associate. All they want is that reward of love me, like me. And it's false. It's false. And doing that there with the young lads, mate, I think that'll teach them some brilliant key skills to grow up and, help your community, build trust with people. Because a lot of people say, he's a boxer, thinks he's hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not the case. And these young lads that are going to be, training there, because that's a lot of the lads are under 20, I'd imagine, are they?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
It's teaching them skills that they're going to need in life as well, rather than just in a boxing ring. And I commend you for that, mate.
Well, like I say, I'm not doing anything different to what other towns have got and other coaches are doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We'll have 2 minutes now, mate. We'll come back and we'll talk about your career and what you're doing as a coach, how you feel, things like that, and what the next 12 months holds for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
How'd you find that?
Spot on. Good. Yeah.
You got quite emotional there, didn't you, at one point?
Yeah, I thought I was going to start crying.
Isn't that, again, like we just said off camera then, there's nothing wrong with that. It shows the reality of life, and this, especially around people involved in combat sports, that you're a human being and you care, and you know, it's your daughter at the end of the day. So
I'm a bit of I'll hold something in. A bit of really, it sounds stupid this, but when I get stressed, I eat. Hence why I was always cutting weight to fight.
Snap.
So, so I think that's like my self-abuse.
Yeah.
And then I think, sounds stupid, but like, it's something I shouldn't ever do as a ex-boxer or leading me example and stuff like that. But it was my way of like, I'll sit down, I'll eat, or I'll have a can of beer.
So what it is, mate, it's our comfort zone to know that because it makes us feel good, which it does.
Yeah.
Eating shit food makes us feel fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's what I did majority of last year, mate. I've been on the carnivore diet now since Boxing Day, and I've lost 22 kilos.
Yeah, you're looking well, to be fair.
Just like this, me chubby cheeks is starting. I'm starting to feel my jawline again and things like that. But eating shit food, drinking, it's a form of addiction because it makes us feel good and it takes us away from the reality of hardships that we've got in life. You know, if you can sit on the sofa and go, I'm going to have a pizza there, I'm going to nail 20 bags of crisps, and you sat there and you're in your own little world and eating, and that's what addiction is. It's something that takes us away from reality, makes us feel good, even though it's not.
Yeah.
Whatever that addiction, eating is a massive one. I didn't realise how difficult it is globally for people who struggle with food disorders, just eating all the time.
Well, if you think about it, like you can go into like a shop and get a packet of crisps for 60p.
Yeah.
But then you go and try and get like a salad box. It's like £4, £3. Yeah. And I think if you're a bit short on money, what are you going to buy?
So, and at the moment, mate, all I'm really eating, I have the odd day here and there where I'll have like something different. But 0 carbs. I'm just eating meat, eggs, fish, and cheese. And I buy expensive meat from proper farms.
Yeah.
But you think £150 on meat, but you'll freeze it, put it on the freezer, and it'll last you 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's not it's the pros and cons of spending 150 quid in one hit rather than 20 quid here, 20 quid there, which works out to a lot more over a month anyway. But I feel brilliant, mate. My energy's through the roof. Obviously, I've just found out that I've got to have a spinal surgery, so that's knocked me back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel good cognitively. So at the moment, I'm learning, reading books on psychology, neuro-linguistics, cognitive behavioural therapy, all these things to teach us about how we perceive our reality. And, you know, if we talk negatively, in turn, our reality then becomes negative.
100%.
And it's just all about the perception and how our being conscious of the unconscious and things like that.
So what do you think about like manifesting something then?
I think it's real.
Yeah.
And I think the word manifestation is it's not accurate, because I genuinely believe now, and I'm sort of living it at this moment. Like, so I'll give you an example. I didn't know what the word neuro-linguistics was. It's about 5 weeks ago. And now I've just started learning what it is, and then all of a sudden I've met this guy from South Africa who's a neuro-linguistics teacher.
That's mad, isn't it?
And now we spoke yesterday, and now he's gonna teach me the depth of what it is. And I believe the word manifestation, in layman terms, is you look at reality in a bad way, so negatively, like we've all done, and I did it. My life's shit. I'm drinking all the time, and it's because, well, you know, that's what we believe. That I need to drink just to get rid of these demons. Well, you don't, but you believe that, so that in turn becomes your reality. Whereas now it's like, I don't need to drink. I want to speak to people. I want to learn. I want to educate myself. I want to become the best podcast, number one mental health podcast in Britain.
Which you will be.
That's my goal. And all of a sudden, I'm meeting these people and learning these things, and I'm like, wow, I'm just adding bricks. So my reality's changing.
Yeah.
My reality 2 years ago is not my perception of reality now. Hence, is that manifestation, or are you just creating that reality for yourself anyway.
Yeah.
The word manifest is for something to just appear, but we're putting the work in, so it's not manifesting. You're just making it happen.
Yeah.
And I agree that we change our reality, we change our perception. Reality changes.
Yeah, I find if you're in a good mind frame, like things are easier to focus and do.
Yeah.
If you get the distractions, feeling sorry for yourself, or like say eating or whatever the addiction is, you're never going to be the same focused. If that makes sense. If that's what I'm trying to say. Like you've focused on it now for like a year or two, and look how far you've gone. And I think how far you'll go in like another 2 or 3 years.
And I couldn't agree more, mate. Don't get me wrong, last year I still slipped here and there. I'd have a drink here and there and let myself down. But the fact of the matter is, I'm a human being.
Yeah.
And we all make mistakes. But again, through neurolinguistics now, I've learned there is no failure. There's only feedback.
Yeah.
So you don't fail. You just feed, right, next time I try and do that, I'll incorporate this and this. This is where these screens come from.
There you go.
Because I've had a couple of podcasts where they're blurry, so, well, I feel like, I fucking failed. Well, you haven't. Just take it as an improvement opportunity and do it better next time.
Which then leads us on to like the boxing.
Yeah.
Like when the fighters fight and they don't lose, we always say you learn.
Right, okay.
Which is a similar thing.
Okay.
So like with the amateur boxers, especially the young ones, we went down South Wales on last Sunday.
Lad had his first fight.
Yeah, it was his first time in the championships. It was
okay.
his 4th fight. It was.
Okay,
Yeah, he's won 2, lost 2 now, but he won the lad, to be honest with you. He was by far the better boxer. He got out of there, head held high, because we've instilled into him, it's not about winning or losing, it's about, it is, don't get me wrong, you want to win or lose, but there's not really any losers in boxing, because you're in there, you're doing something not a lot of people have got the balls to do.
I agree.
Getting in between them ropes, especially at a young age.
I agree.
He's took himself off the streets, he was on the streets quite a lot, he's changed his life completely. And he's boxing. And
how old is he, sorry?
He's just turned 16 now.
Is he, yeah? Wow.
But for like last year or so, we've had him under control. He's got ADHD. We've got that under control. He listens to me. Anything I ask him to do, he'll do. And he'll try and better himself. But going back to that word, I can't pronounce what you said it was.
Neurolinguistics.
Yeah, going back to that similar thing of like improving.
All it means, basically, in a nutshell, is, so we've got 5 senses. See, smell, blah, 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 everything, all our 5 senses. It's how we take the information from what we receive and then how we put that back out. So if you take all this information in, like I could sit here now and say, fucking hell, it's a bit freezing, my neck's hurting, I'm moaning. Yeah. Whereas, no, I'm having a good conversation. I'm picking up things that are going to help me. It's your perception. You can be negative or positive. Yeah. And that's really, in a nutshell, there's a lot more to it. But that's what it is. It's about your perception of being positive and not beating yourself up every fucking day.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, as you know, Lee, we spoke before, I'm got a lot of travelling friends in the travelling community, and you'd be surprised how little they speak about their own problems. Yeah. And they're judged by everybody, and a lot of the time they couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah. Again, this is like a judgmental thing of people, how the world is. They say, oh, travellers, whatever. And I think they're the most helpful, nicest people I've ever met. They've done more for me and my little girl than most people have. And they'll get it back off us as well. Like we'll help them. Paddy Doherty, great friend of myself. He does so much for charity. He does so much for everybody. Like you wouldn't believe the amount of work he does off camera to help people. And
you don't hear these things, do you? Everything, especially when in the social aspect of the things, everything you hear about travellers is, negative. I think especially since Tyson Fury spoke out about his mental health and things like that, that sort of lessened the opinions of the public, shall we say, on travellers and things like that, because obviously he's a traveller, and then all of a sudden he's opening up, which in turn helps fucking millions of people. That's what, one of the reasons I started doing this was because I read his book. Yeah.
He's some man. He's people like,
I'll have him on here one day.
100%. Like Ricky's coming on, hopefully. Yeah. Big Ricky Gorman, that's his cousin. You're on the right.
Oh, is he? Yeah, he's cousins.
His cousin with Tyson.
Oh, right, okay.
So you're on the right tracks there, like. So.
And at the end of the day, we're all fucking human beings making the shit up as we go along every day.
100%.
You know, and the problem is, mate, the Britain, the Western society is we're so fucking opinionated, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
When our own house is fucked.
Yeah.
You know, the UK is absolutely fucked.
Do you think that's because they don't really want to address their own problems, but if they see someone else doing something?
100%. Well, it's called projection.
Yeah.
So what we do is, it's if you think of a high school bully, when they'll pick on people for no reason at all, 9 times out of 10, they're projecting their own emotions onto other people.
Yeah.
Bringing people down to their level because, for whatever reason that may be, they could have difficulty at home. They could be being abused by their parents at home, or whatever that reason is.
Yeah.
But we project, and we do that naturally as humans. Jealousy, it's a form of projection.
Yeah.
I don't like what he's doing because my life isn't where I want it to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, mate, I have been one of the most egotistical, jealous people going in my 20s and early 30s. Now, without sounding nasty, I love what I'm doing, I love learning. But if it's not within my circle, it doesn't affect me anymore.
100%.
All this, like a lot of, again, I've said it before, a lot of my friends have got these opinions on government and big pharma and how COVID was handled, and I get it. I was there. I was angry myself. There's nothing I can do about it.
No.
So
you know what? My old fella just say similar to me as what you just said. And I didn't get it until a few years back. I used to go home and say, "Oh, so was fighting on the weekend," and he'd be like, "So,
yeah,
or like I say, I was only young, or they've done this, or they've said that." He's like, "So," he said, "Listen to me, son." He said, "Unless it comes to this house and affects your mother or you kids, I don't give a fuck."
I agree.
He said, "Leave their troubles out there." He said,
agree.
"I'm not bothered." But then, like, I used to come and talk about all of conspiracies to him, and I used to be like, you'd never be ignorant with it. You'd just be honest. You'd be like, "Oh yeah." And then like, one day he said, "Son," he said, "no matter how much you talk about it, yeah, or no matter how much you go on about it, yeah," he said,
not going to change.
It's not going to change a fucking difference.
And I really agree. And it's only probably November, December last year when I started reading, and I'm training in sobriety coaching, happiness coaching. I'm doing all these different types of coaching because I want to get into it, mate. I want to be a public speaker in the end. That's what I want to do with it now. And I believe my communication's getting better. The words I'm using are getting better, and therefore all these things are working. But before that, mate, it was like, fucking hell, you heard about this and drama. Because I was, like most of us were, I was brought up around drama.
Yeah.
So we look for it.
Yeah.
We look for drama, and my missus would say, "It's fucking nothing to do with you." And I'm like, "Yeah, but have you heard about this and this?" And, you know, like, and in the end, now I've sort of become, I'm not going to say more stoic, but now it's like, I don't care. Like, I've got too much going on in my own life to be worried about somebody else who, in turn, doesn't give a fuck about my life. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And the thing is, you only got to look at if there's a police car on your road in your house, the amount of people looking out their windows. I
was the worst.
You know, you've only look at that. Everyone's at the windows looking what's going on down there. But
I was the worst, mate. I'd put it on, so, fucking look on Facebook, love, see what's going on with that fucking police car. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's life, and there's the hedonistic aspect of happiness. Hedonism is, I'll describe it as being materialistic happiness, which isn't real. You know, I was one of them. And again, I've said before, I've been to Disneyland, Florida a few times. I've been to Vegas. I've been skiing. I had a nice house, 2 cars, and it's like, on my deathbed, none of that means fuck all.
No.
Well, on my deathbed, I had a notification the other day that I've reached 7,500 views on YouTube. Not massive, but for me, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And it was like, on your deathbed, will you be asked about, fuck, I made up, I went on that holiday to Disneyland? Or the 7,500 people that listen to these podcasts and may have helped them? The second one, all day.
But you think that 7,000 people have probably gone and said something which you said on that podcast to another 7,000 people. So that's 14,000, you know.
And it's that concept of, we don't see the trees when we're walking through the woods.
No, it's right.
And that's me at this moment in time, mate. I'm loving what I'm doing as far as emotionally, with me knowledge that everything is just coming in, and it's like I'm experiencing all these new things. I was crying on the phone to a South African doctor yesterday. Don't even know him. Do you know what I mean? But I'm enjoying it because I feel like I'm just elevating myself all the time. I'm not stuck down in the dumps anymore. I'm just, I don't know, I just want to help people. And that brings me on to you as a boxing coach, mate. How's it going? How you feeling? Now you've got your own gym.
Feeling good, like.
Yeah.
I think there's people who were always born to do something in life, and some people find what they were good at, and some people unfortunately never find what they were good at. I was quite lucky enough to stumble upon boxing all them years ago.
Yeah.
Be taught by some great coaches who taught me a lot of stuff, and add to it myself by my own abilities as well and my own thinking. So I find like boxing, I was always meant to box, if that makes sense. I was always meant to be a boxing coach or involved in it.
Do you believe you were meant to box, and again, be boxing and boxing coaching that sort of walk hand in hand? Do you believe your journey was to box or teach?
Originally, I thought I was going to be a world champion. I'll be honest with you. I remember turning like when I first started, I was quite a soft touch. My dad was like, he won't box. My dad was a world champion in the 70s. Yeah, he was a good amateur boxer in the 70s. So my dad was like, lad, you know what it's like? It's hard, it's tough, it's this, it's that. And I said, no, I've been told I'm really good. And he was like, yeah, they say that to everybody. And then all of a sudden, it's sort of just like, I started, and then within a few months, I'd had my first bout, my second bout, my third bout, my fourth bout. And don't get me wrong, it never got any easier with my nerves.
Right.
Like,
it's a big thing, isn't it?
My biggest opponent was this.
Yeah.
And any boxing coach I've been around will tell you the same.
Rocky Balboa calls it Frankie Fear, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. Honestly, I could have been a lot further than what I was if I was a bit mentally stronger. But I put this down to stuff which happened all my life, and it's not an excuse. I think I was very nervous. A lot of the self confidence, which I was on about before, came a lot later in life. I was still a kid when I was doing it. It was like, I don't know, I just didn't live. I believed in myself, but not believed in myself enough. Like I tell everyone I'm going to be a world champion, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but inside I sort of knew that I probably never would be because I didn't have the head for it.
And that's why.
Yeah.
So what you said there, deep in myself, that unconscious voice, change that perception. Yeah. That becomes your reality. That is, again, that's the neural. But that's led you to where you are now. Yeah. Which I believe, we know quite a few boxing coaches between us and other people in combat sports who coach people. That there is it's. I'm not going to say it's not on par with being a world champion because it's chalk and cheese. They're two different things, aren't they? But again, when you're an old man, you could be sat there with your grandchildren. I've taught over 1,000 people how to box. That type of conversation, and it's powerful because what you've done is you've had a massive effect on people's lives, and in turn, like you said to me before, they then in turn help their children be brought up the same way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's that generational aspect of, raising each other up and helping each other. And
I tell you, I'll be happy if one of my children grow up when they're older and they go to the pub and someone says, "You're Carl's son. Let me get your pint. He was a good man. He was a good boxer, or he was a good coach." Something in the boxing world, because I put so many hours into it. I'd like to think I'm not bothered. I'll be honest, Lee. I'll be honest. As long as people turn up and box, I'm not bothered if they win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, of course.
As long as they're getting in there and they're keeping them off the streets and they're,
self-improvement.
100%. Yeah. So to me, I want them all to win, but I'm not bothered if they don't. I'll give them my 100%. As long as they give their 100%, I'm happy.
There's not many people, mate, who can go through an amateur boxing career without getting beat.
No.
Some of the greatest boxers of all time have lost multiple times in amateur boxing.
Roy Jones was the greatest ever boxer, in my opinion.
I love Roy Jones.
Unbelievable. Lost in the Olympic final, which he blatantly beat the lad. He lost.
Mayweather lost in the final of the Olympics as well, didn't he?
That's what happened.
I think he won that as well. I think he won it as well.
Sugar
Ray Robinson's one of my favourite fighters of all time.
Some fighter. But you got Randolph Turpin. He beat Sugar Ray Robinson.
Yeah. So
I think his grandson or great grandson is currently training to box.
Oh wow!
So I see him the other day. Yeah.
Wow.
I think he's training with Craig Winter.
Oh, up in Denby.
In Denby, yeah.
Well, Craig's coming on the podcast.
Is it? There you go. Yeah. So he's training Randolph Turpin's great grandson, I believe.
Wow.
Currently.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a bit of
And
history.
it's mad, mate. Like Sugar Ray, how many? I think he went 89, then lost.
Yeah,
Then won another 60 odd, and then lost.
it was unbelievable.
And then won another 20 something, and then lost a couple.
But they were fighting monthly or weekly. There.
I think he was fighting every 2 weeks at one point.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
And they didn't have the protective gloves like they got now. And
they go serious, like the rounds they were doing in them days. Jesus Christ. Who's your favourite boxer of all time?
I always say like
Roy Jones.
Roy Jones is my fave, but he's on the wall there with Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad.
Only because what he did for the boxing and what he did out of the boxing.
Well, he was a massive part of the civil rights movement, wasn't he, for black people? Me and my missus actually watched the film about 6 nights ago because I watched the George Foreman film that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, Ali looks like he's a bit of a knobhead." I said, "Do you actually know who he is?" And she was like, "I don't know." I said, "Right, we'll watch the film." Yeah. And she was like, "Wow, this is powerful stuff." This like
when you watch some of the interviews of what he was like leading up to fights, he was the original trash talker.
Showmanship.
But he was so good at what he did.
The master, wasn't he?
Well,
he was the master.
You know, so he changed boxing for the better. The way he moved, the way he boxed, hands low. I seen an interview where his coach said we were screaming at him at first, "Get your hands up, get your hands up." And he put his hands up and he got battered, so they were screaming, "Put your hands back down." You know, so again, but that goes to show you don't know it all. Like you know, you can't coach him the same as you coach him. And just like in life, you can't treat him like you treat him because everyone's different. Everyone's different and separate.
And I've got this sort of gripe at the moment with social media and all the debates talking. You've probably seen them. It's all men till it's no men, and it's all we hate each other, and everyone hates each other. But everything's trying to be generalised to fit somebody's narrative or fit an argument. We're all different. Yeah, every single one of like you hear the word. We're all in the same boat. We're fucking not. You're in your boat. I'm in mine. He's in his. She's in his. We're all. But the beauty of it is, we're going down the same river, maybe, and that is the beauty of life. Now that I think is, meeting new people, having emotional experiences, things like that. Yeah. That's the beauty in life.
I think in the next 5 years, the country, or maybe 10, the country's going to change for the better.
I hope so.
I think it is. I think people are now starting to not be as tolerant. I mean, the UK has been the most tolerant place in the world. Yeah. I think, we try and let anyone be everybody because you can be. No one's got any right to say anything to anybody. But I just think it's going to change, and I think it needs to change because, who's got the right to say you can't be something, or who's got the right to be, but you can't. If I want to be something, I've got no right then to try and say you've got to be that way because I want to be this way. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Projection.
But
that's what it is. You project people just because somebody isn't somewhere. I mean, you heard it in the Rocky film when he's talking to his son. I can't remember what word for word. Life will beat you to your knees if you allow it. Yeah. Don't allow somebody to put their finger in your face and say you can't be this and you can't be that just because they're unhappy with their own lives. And I really believe that now. It's to me now, I've got a goal. I've got a goal. I've got a plan of what I want to do in North Wales. Yeah. I don't really want to put massive amounts of information out as to what I'm doing because, again, if you're not achieving as much as you should, you'll beat yourself up for it. And other people will, look what he's trying to do this. So keeping it all close to my chest, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, 100%. I believe you will.
I'm going to do it. What does the next 12 months hold for? Mather boxing in the area. What's the plans? What's your goal? Your ambition?
Hoping to just get as many kids off the streets as I can. Really, make as much impact in people's lives as I can. And it's not even just kids. I mean, I had someone in the other day who sadly lost someone close to him, very close to him, and they held it in for 6 months. And I prodded the right buttons to get him to cry, not in a horrible way. No,
it's good to cry, mate. I don't care what anyone says.
I just asked how you're feeling, and I said you can let it out. If you want to have a speak to me, and he come out and later on message, thank you so much for that. I feel like I've weights off my shoulders. I've had kids crying here. I've had, it's like when people come for like a one-to-one, I believe people don't come to hit the pads. I think they come to let off a bit of steam.
I agree.
Not even just punch, they speak without realising. Mm-hmm. You know, so
Well, it's one of two places where men will actively speak, is in a gym or in a pub. They're the only two places, I'd say statistically, that men talk. And Tony Robbins, I don't know, you know who Tony Robbins is? He's like a motivational speaker. He said, as long as fluids leaving your body from your eyes in public, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's the only place, rather than like pissing in public. It's a joke.
Yeah.
But as long as fluids leaving your body from just your eyes, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
The thing is, I think I always say to people, like, if you put up the plug in the bath and leave a tap on, what will happen? It overflows.
Exactly, yeah.
But what happens if you let the plug out?
Yeah.
You know, you're letting a bit of that load off.
Yeah.
So I think
I've always said, mate, the way we deal with our emotions is like your body's a bottle of fizzy pop. You shake a bottle of fizzy pop, and what happens when you take the lid off? We'll just let it out slowly. And you know, the more you hold it in, the worse the end. You've always got to go through that end bit anyway, whether it's now or in 5 years.
Yeah.
So the longer you hold it in, the worse the pressure, the worse it gets, and eventually you let it out anyway. And that is where there's a lot of people taking their own lives and things like that because they don't know how to let that pressure off,
or they let it out on the wrong people.
Yeah, and that is a piece of the puzzle that I want to try and help in North Wales, whether it takes, I don't know, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, I don't know.
Well, you're making a big impact already.
Yeah, I think so. And it took me a long time to give myself a bit of respect and pat on the back for what I'm doing. But, you know, the proof's in the pudding that, you know, the numbers aren't massive, but I'm not in it for the numbers game. I'm in it for the message.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
It's great, that.
Last question, mate, before we round it off. If you could have 4 people around the dinner table from the past, alive or not, who would they be?
I'd have my Tide, my granddad. I never got to meet either of them, so both of them. I'd have Muhammad Ali, obviously, said that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, a bit of like a bit of a weird one, this, but like I'm mad on the Spartans.
I love the Spartans, yeah.
So like King Leonidas.
Yeah.
I'd have him around there, just see his tactics on war. Because, again, it's just like a battle.
Well, we could do a whole nother podcast talking about Greek mythology, because that's one of my favourite subjects to talk about. The Spartans. Did you know that there's, I'll say, accusations that a lot of them were gay?
No, I didn't know. Yeah.
Because when they used to go into the mountains and train them as teenagers, again, this is just stuff that I've read over the years, that they bond with each other because they thought that it made them closer together as an army, as a unit.
Which would kind of make sense.
Yeah.
In a way,
Alexander the Great, there was sort of historical, I'll call it evidence, that he was gay. Achilles.
Yeah. So
have you seen the film Troy?
Yeah.
So I've actually got a tattoo there. There are no pacts between lions and men tattooed on my hand.
Nice.
So his cousin Patroclus in the film, well, in Greek mythology, that was his boyfriend.
Right, okay.
Not his cousin.
Oh, yeah, because his cousin gets murdered by putting his helmet on the film, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's Patroclus.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, in Greek mythology, mate, that was his boyfriend and not his cousin.
Right, okay.
So there's low,
I could sit here all day and talk to you about all that stuff.
Again, Greek mythology is brilliant.
The Vikings and the whole.
My body's covered in Viking tattoos. I think I am one.
Yeah. But again, this is all like, that's the manly stuff when you're coming out, I think. It's like,
yeah.
It's the...
Again, Vikings, mate, all that type of stuff. I got offered, I went to Tenerife 2 years ago. Some Irish guy come up to me and he said, you like Vikings? Because I've got the V, the symbol from the show on my leg. Yeah. And I've got the blood eagle, which covered my whole back, which is where they rip your rib cage out, pull your lungs out and stuff. He said, you like Vikings? I said, well, yeah. He said, you're a big fucker, aren't you? He said, would you be interested in coming on the show as an extra? What? He said, yeah, I'm the prop master on the show, The Vikings. I was like, yeah, whatever, mate. Anyway, a couple of months went by. And his wife's brother was working on the new Gladiator film that's just come out as well. Yeah. And I thought, these people are they're crazy, like. And anyway, I Googled his name when the new Viking series come out, and he's the prop master.
So you could have been on that.
I was devastated I didn't follow that up, mate. Because I said, they're big fellas. He said, not really, mate. He said, they just look bigger through the camera. Yeah. He said, a lot of the main actors are like 5'9", 5'10". He said, you look like a giant there.
Yeah, you're massive.
Yeah, and I thought, I'm devastated that I didn't do it.
It was They say that's just like the manliness thing coming out, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's it, mate. You know, we've all got that manly man in us, but I feel like it's good to get in touch with your emotions as well and be emotionally regulated.
Well, you got in touch with mine in about 3 minutes into this podcast today.
That's it, mate. I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you having me.
I hope that you do well with what you're doing here in the gym, and you know, touch wood, your daughter makes her way back to a clean bill of health.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, and good luck in the future with yourself as well.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.